Alright, so yep, we're recording. Okay, it's really hot in here, so I got the fan going. So my name is Daisy, and this video is gonna be about my labor and delivery, and I was induced. So let's get into that story. Before I talk about exactly like what happened, I do want to just say that I was 20 when I got pregnant, and then I was 20 when I delivered. I'm currently 21, and I had a really smooth pregnancy. I didn't have like any major symptoms or anything. The worst that I got was like stretch marks and weight gain, but like nothing else. Like I felt fine. I'd say I had a really smooth pregnancy, and I'm really thankful for that. I will say, like 3 weeks before giving birth, I did sort of deal with a bit of like mental health issues. I feel like I started to get really depressed and kind of go through like a depression for the last 3 weeks of my pregnancy. I want to make another video like talking about that experience and just going into further detail, but I kind of did have like an episode for like the last 3 weeks. Once I gave birth though, I didn't feel like that anymore, but like I said, I'll make a separate video for that. So yeah, other than that, I had a really good smooth pregnancy. I have my phone here because I took notes the day that I was in the hospital. So let's see, let's start on August 21st, 2017. That's the day I started noticing like he wasn't moving as much, or I just didn't feel his movements as much. But I had a doctor's appointment the 23rd, which was 2 days after that, so I just kind of waited it out and was like, I'll ask when I'm in and stuff. Yeah, don't do that. I recommend calling as soon as you feel like something's weird, just in case something is wrong, so they can like try and fix it sooner rather than later. But yeah, I waited. The doctor told me don't do that. Yeah, I just like everything looked good, she told me, and I was like, I can't remember if it was half a centimeter or if it was 1 centimeter. I think it was 1 centimeter dilated. And she checked my fluid levels, but she said it wasn't as accurate as like when they use the hospital machines to check my fluid levels. But she like was a bit concerned, like according to her math, she said that my fluid levels seemed low. So she actually had me go into the hospital that same day. So this was all happening on August 23rd, 2017. I had my doctor's appointment at like 1 in the afternoon, and she called the hospital and told them that I was gonna go in to get checked out. So I remember I got to the hospital around like 3 p.m. and they strapped 2 monitors on me, one for the contractions and one for the baby's heartbeat, and they had me lay there for about 15 minutes just tracking his movements. And one nurse came in and she told me that she basically was like, oh honey, you're fine, your baby's moved like 20 times in the past like 10-15 minutes, like you just need to pay better attention. And I was like, okay, I guess that means I'm going home. I wasn't sure. She didn't specifically say I was going home, but she just made it sound like everything's fine and I'm gonna get to leave soon, which I was happy about because I was starving at that time. But yeah, then another lady comes in, and I didn't know, but that was a doctor, and she brought in like this machine and she was like checking my fluid levels, I guess. And she kept asking me like all these questions, and she said, yeah, you're not leaving until this baby's born. I was like kind of shocked because I wasn't expecting to like be admitted into the hospital. But yeah, she told me that she thought it was best if I was induced, and I was like just so shook. I was shook, but luckily I did have my like hospital bag in the car. But she told me I wasn't leaving, so they got me a room ready, and my boyfriend actually arrived at the hospital just before like they took us to our room. My main concern, I think, was the fact that I was starving. luckily the doctor was super nice and she told me, oh, don't worry, we'll give you a sandwich and some food you can eat before we start. So I was really happy about that because if I don't eat, I get really cranky. Alright, let me pull up my notes. Alright, here we are. Okay, so once we were in our hospital labor and delivery room, they brought me some food and I got to eat that. It was like 4 something, and then once I finished eating at 5 p.m. they came in and they put the IV in, and I was kind of just chilling there for a bit, and then around 6 p.m. they this might sound gross and I might be missing parts of the story, but basically they induced me by inserting like some kind of little balloon, and I think it was every 30 minutes it was gonna like expand with some kind of liquid inside. I think it's just water, but like it would expand, and then once I was around 4 centimeters it was supposed to like fall out, or if they like tug on it and it comes out just super easily, then that means like I was 4 centimeters. So they put that balloon in me and it didn't hurt, but I have this thing where I like cringe whenever I hear like metal banging against each other, and they use like these really long skinny like little metal sticks, and like it was like touching each other and making this really gross noise, and it was making me get the chills, and I hate it. I hate that noise, but like it didn't hurt or anything. And they also started me with like a really low dose of Pitocin through my IV, and they basically like just did that for a few hours. I didn't feel any pain. I was just kind of laying there watching TV, chilling, because they started that at 6 p.m. So I was just laying there chilling, and then around 11 p.m. The nurse like came in, checked on me, and she was just checking on the balloon, and she like barely touched it and it like fell out. So that was at 11 p.m. and let's see, so they started a penicillin antibiotic, I guess. What is it? They do this test, and it's common for some moms to come out positive with it, and it's totally fine, but you just need to make sure to get the antibiotic before the baby's born. So that's what they started me on. And I feel like that was the worst part of this whole story, because it goes through your veins, and yeah, so they do like, I don't know how many doses it is, but the first dose the nurse was like, okay, this might burn a little in your veins, so I'm gonna dilute it with water. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know, do whatever you feel like doing. And it was weird, like I would feel it like going through my veins, but it didn't really hurt. And at this point I wasn't feeling any really like contractions or anything, so I was just like chilling for the next 2 hours. Then 2 a.m. comes around and I like had to go to the restroom, so I go to the restroom, and then I lay down, and like 5-10 minutes later, that's when my water broke. And at first I wasn't sure if my water broke because it just felt like I peed myself. Like it didn't gush out or anything, I just felt like a little teeny bit of like liquid come out, and I was like, either I just peed myself or like this is my water breaking. So I called the nurse and she's like, yep, your water broke. And I was like, okay, cool. That was at 2 a.m. Let's see. Then after that, another like different nurse comes in and she does like a second dose of the penicillin in my veins, but she didn't dilute it. And oh my gosh, I was in so much pain, like so much pain. Like I almost started crying because it burned. Like I don't know how to explain it. It felt like poison. It felt like poison was going through my veins, like through my arm and everything, and I couldn't feel it and I couldn't move it, and I was just sitting there like, what the hell is this? Like, it hurt so bad, so bad. So the next time the nurse came in, I was like, can you please dilute that, because my veins are on fire. Like, it felt like poison. I don't know how to explain it. It was just horrible. So I recommend, if you guys are getting that penicillin antibiotic through your veins in your IV, like, ask them to dilute it, because just thinking about it right now like makes me cringe. Like, it was so painful. Yeah, it was painful. Then let's see, at 4 a.m. let's see, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So from like, what is it, like midnight to 2 a.m. like to 3 a.m. the nurses that kept coming in kept asking me how I was doing, asking if I needed any pain medication or any epidural or anything, and I was like, not yet, I'm fine. And I don't know why they kept asking me, and she's like, are you sure you're okay? You don't feel any pain? And I didn't feel any pain. Like, what I felt was like mild cramps, like very mild, like very, very mild cramps. So I was like, I don't need pain medication for that. And she's like, your contractions are really high. And she showed me the chart, and literally like they were going up all the way to the top of the screen, like to the highest line, and I couldn't feel that at all. And I was like, what the heck? So apparently I have a high pain tolerance. I honestly didn't know that, but apparently my contractions were like at a 10 and I didn't even feel them. But around 4 a.m. I started to feel slight discomfort. So the nurse was like, are you sure you don't want us to like at least give you pain medication through your IV, so if your pain starts to worsen, like it'll start to kick in right at the same time? So I was like, sure, we can do that. They put it in, and let's see, it made me so drowsy. Like within a few minutes of them like putting the medication through my IV, like I felt like I was gonna knock out. Like, it just made me super drowsy. And then my pain started to get like worse, and the pain was like from my belly button down, like that's where I felt the pain. At 5 a.m. I was like, okay, this pain medication is not really helping, can I get the epidural? Let's see, so I asked for that around 5 a.m. and the anesthesiologist came into my room around 6:50 and gave me the epidural. And I don't like, I heard that some people, like for them it hurts when like they're getting the needle in their back and stuff. I didn't really feel anything. I don't know if it was because of the pain medication they gave me in my IV, but I didn't feel anything. I was just like sitting there, and like they were telling me how to sit and stuff, and I was falling asleep, so I was really scared that I was gonna like lean forward because of how sleepy I was. But everything was fine, I guess. Then at 7:30 I felt pain, really sharp pain in my left thigh, and I told the nurse, and she kept telling me, your epidural is probably taking a while to kick in. Like, if you need to press this button and it'll like add more dose, like it'll up the dose basically in the epidural. She just kept telling me to like hit the button, so I did it like 3 times, and my right leg was completely numb. Like, she kept like poking my entire leg and I didn't feel any of it, so my like right leg was completely numb, but my left thigh, like going up like my butt, was in so much pain. And then at 8 a.m. I told the nurse like it still hurts really bad. So before like giving me more epidural, they're like, okay, well let's check your cervix and see what's going on. And I felt so much pressure, like I felt so much pressure in my butt like I needed to poop really bad, like really bad. It was like it was uncomfortable. And then so the nurse checked me and she's like, oh, you're at a 10. And I was like, wow. So she's like, no wonder you feel so much pain, the baby's head is like right there. And I was like, wow. So then the doctor comes in and I pushed for 30 minutes. I didn't feel any of it at all. I was also like super drowsy, so I was just listening to what they were saying, doing what they asked. I will insert a clip of me pushing, so if you don't want to see that, you might want to skip through. But yeah, I'm gonna insert the clip here.
Go ahead and give me another little push. Hi, Mama.
Oh,
Hi, baby.
And he was born at 8:53 a.m. His name is Jaden Elliott, and he was 6 pounds and 3 ounces, and he was 19 inches long. And like I said, he was born 2 weeks early. But yeah, he was born healthy as could be. My pregnancy was super smooth. My labor and delivery was pretty smooth. No complications. So thankful I didn't have any issues or a C-section. I'm just beyond thankful for that. My son was 110% healthy. I will insert some pictures, and I do hope to do kind of like a 1-year update on him, so if you're interested you can get to know him a bit more. I haven't posted too much about him, but yeah, that was my story. We were in the hospital for 2 days, and then we got to go home, and I had such a great smooth recovery. Like, I'm just so lucky and blessed. And I was breastfeeding. That in itself was a journey. I still breastfeed to this day, so in the future look out for a breastfeeding video. I will talk about everything breastfeeding related in that video. Yeah, I think I've been sitting here for a while, so I should probably get my ass to work, do something productive. But I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you didn't, I don't care. I'm glad I filmed this so that I can look back at it. But yeah, so subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, totally fine with me. And yeah, what am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying. I should probably just stop recording. Alright, it's too hot. Alright, back to looking like an egg with my hair up. I know, I look cute with my 5-finger forehead. Okay, gotta go.